The sky turned black. It was a normal morning on Earth. People went to work. Children laughed on their way to school. News channels talked about politics, weather, and sports. No one knew that everything was about to change. At exactly 12:06 p.m., the sky turned black. Not from rain or storm clouds. This was different. The sun disappeared behind strange shadows. People looked up, confused. Then they saw it. Thousands of giant objects were covering the sky. They were not airplanes. They were not satellites. They were ships. Huge, dark, floating warships. Silent, motionless, blocking the sun. In less than 10 minutes, every camera in the world was pointed at the sky. Social media exploded with panic. News anchors struggled to stay calm. In Washington, D.C., London, Beijing, and every major capital, world leaders gathered in emergency meetings for the first time in human history. The entire planet was watching the same thing, an invasion. They counted the ships. 9,900 of them, spread all over the world. Then a strange signal began to play. Phones, radios, TVs, and even smartwatches started making the same sound, a low hum. Then a voice. The voice was cold, robotic, and deep. It spoke in perfect English, but it didn't sound human. This planet belongs to the Karax Empire. You are not welcome here. Surrender or be erased. Panic turned to fear. People ran through the streets. Some prayed. Some screamed. Some just stared at the sky, frozen. In a military base deep underground, Commander Sarah Lynn stood in front of a large screen. She was calm, but her hands were shaking slightly. Sarah was the head of Earth's Global Defense Command, a woman who had trained her whole life for war, but never like this. Her second-in-command, Captain Reyes, spoke quickly. They're not responding to our signals. No communication. No demands, just that message. Sarah nodded. Prepare all defense systems. Alert every nation, and find out what we're dealing with. Somewhere above Earth, inside one of the alien ships, the Karax leaders watched quietly. They had studied humans for years. They knew their weapons, their cities, their fears. They believed this would be easy. They were wrong. Back on Earth, fighter jets rose into the air. Navy ships moved into position. Satellites tried to scan the alien ships, but the data was strange. These ships, they're alive, a young scientist whispered in shock. They're not just machines. They're part organic. Suddenly, without warning, the first attack came. One of the alien ships above Tokyo opened up. A bright beam of energy shot downward. A white flash. Then silence. Tokyo was gone. A city of 37 million people. Erased in 1 second. Then came New York, then Shanghai, then Paris. One after another, the beams came. Clean, fast, deadly. World leaders gave the order. Fire everything we have. Missiles, rockets, lasers, everything Earth had launched at the sky. Some alien ships exploded. A few fell, burning, crashing into the ground, but most of them didn't even move. Their shields were too strong. Their weapons were faster. Earth's best technology looked like Stone Age tools against them. Sarah stood in silence, watching the screens. The death toll was rising. Entire cities wiped away. Then her screen flashed red. Unknown object entering Earth's core zone. What is it? She asked. A scientist turned pale. It's not an attack. They're digging. They're searching for something underground. Sarah frowned. Why would they come here to dig? No one had the answer. Across the planet, the alien voice returned. You were warned. Your time has ended. This world is not yours. But as millions died, something else happened. People started to fight back. Small groups of humans began to form resistance cells. Old soldiers, hackers, scientists, farmers, even teenagers stood together. They didn't have alien tech. They didn't have spaceships. But they had something the Karax didn't understand. Hope. In a ruined city near Alaska, Something strange happened. One alien ship was hit by a lucky missile. It fell from the sky, burning, and crashed into the queue. Icy Mountains. Soldiers were sent to check the wreckage. Inside the broken ship, they found something unexpected. An alien. Still alive, still breathing, but wounded. It looked at them. Its eyes glowed, and then it spoke, not with hate, not with anger, but with fear. You were never the target. This planet is a trap. The soldiers stared in shock. What did that mean? Before anyone could ask, the alien passed out. But the question remained. Who sent the Karax? And what were they really looking for? They came like shadows, but they bled like flesh. 3 hours had passed since the first beam hit Tokyo. Earth had never felt so small, so weak. But in one cold, snowy place, Earth struck back. Not with power, not with missiles. But with luck. In the icy mountains of Alaska, smoke rose from the crash site. One of the alien warships had fallen, not shot down by lasers, not defeated in battle. A simple mechanical failure maybe. Or maybe something else. Team of soldiers in white snow gear stood at the edge of the wreck. Commander Elena Cruz, Special Ops, ex-Shadow Unit, gave the order. Move in, watch your corners. We don't know what's alive in there. They walked into the smoking crater. The ship wasn't metal. It pulsed like skin, like something breathing. Inside, the walls were covered in dark glowing veins. The team moved slow, careful, guns up. No one spoke. Then they found it. The alien. It wasn't dead. It was leaning against a wall, breathing heavy. Its armor was cracked. Blood thick and dark blue was leaking from its side, but its eyes were open. Watching, Sergeant Ryan aimed his rifle. Say the word, Commander. Elena stared. Something felt wrong. The alien raised a shaking hand. Then, to everyone's shock, it spoke. In clear English. Stop, I am not your enemy. No one moved. I came to kill you, but I was lied to. We all were. Thousands of miles away, Sarah Lynn stood in a war room lit only by emergency lights. Screens showed burning cities. A map blinked with red. Dots, each one a fallen place. She turned to her officers. We hit 27 of their ships. They've hit over 90 of our cities. No one said anything. The silence said enough. Sarah asked, what do they want? No answer. Dr. Malik, the lead scientist, stepped forward. They're searching, not just attacking. Every beam, every strike, it's not random. They're hitting spots connected to Earth's deep crust. Sarah narrowed her eyes. So they're digging? Yes, looking for something, maybe even under our oceans. A chill went through the room. What are they trying to find? Someone whispered. No one knew. But in Alaska, the alien had more to say. Back at the crash site, Elena Cruz lowered her weapon. You said you were lied to. Who lied to you? The alien's voice was weak now. They told us your kind were invaders, that Earth was empty. But it's not. It's awake. It remembers. Sergeant Ryan looked confused. The hell does that mean? The alien struggled to sit up. Your world, it's not just a planet, it's a prison. And we just opened the door. The team went quiet. Snow fell gently outside. But inside that wreck, the truth had claws. Commander Cruz leaned closer. Then who are you really fighting? The alien looked up, its eyes glowing dim. Something older than stars. Something that sleeps beneath your feet. We came to destroy it. But now, it's watching us. It passed out. Meanwhile, in orbit. Inside the main Karax command ship, a different conversation was happening. Admiral Tsa, the Karax fleet leader, was furious. Why is ship 774 silent? No answer. A cold voice replied. It has fallen. Ground forces detected. Zezist. Send drones. No survivors. No evidence. They must not discover the truth. Back on Earth, Sarah Lynn looked at the burning Map. Something didn't make sense. They're too advanced to care about a planet like this. What if this isn't an invasion? She turned to Dr. Malik. What if Earth is the last thing standing between them and something worse? That night, a strange pulse echoed through the Earth's crust. A sound no human could hear, but something below did. It opened its eyes. For the first time in 10,000 years. The alien didn't die. And that changed everything. In a secret military lab under the Rocky Mountains. The alien from Alaska lay inside a thick glass chamber. It was still breathing. Machines surrounded it. Scientists watched. Soldiers stood ready, guns loaded, safety off. No one trusted it. But no one could ignore it either. Dr. Malik stood outside the chamber, eyes locked on the strange being. It's not just a soldier, he whispered to Commander Sarah Lynn. It's a witness. Sarah nodded. Then, we listen. Inside the chamber, the alien's eyes snapped open. It looked around slowly, calmly. Then, it spoke without moving its lips. The voice echoed directly inside their minds. You are already too late. The chains are breaking. The lights flickered. Few scientists backed away. Sarah stepped forward. What chains? What are you talking about? The alien slowly sat up. It seemed smaller now, not weak, but tired. Your planet was not meant to survive. It was sealed long ago by those stronger than the Karax. We were sent to make sure it stayed quiet. Meanwhile, across Earth, strange things were happening. Oceans bubbled as if something massive was shifting below. Storms gathered over ancient deserts. Magnetic fields spiked. Birds flew in confused circles. Animals ran from forests. It was as if the planet itself was waking up. In an old library in Istanbul, a monk pulled out a forgotten scroll. His hand shook. Told of a time before humans. Of gods made of light, and a war that buried one of them. Inside the earth, the sleeper beneath the stone shall rise when the sky is darkened by steel. The prophecy was real. And the Karax had just triggered it. Back in the lab, the alien touched the glass with one hand. Images burst into the minds of everyone watching. A vision, a memory, long ago. The Karax were not kings, they were slaves. They served a greater power, the Hollow One, a creature of endless hunger. It devoured suns, burned galaxies. Until it reached Earth. But something here fought back. A being made of light and stone, born from the planet itself. It used Earth's core like a weapon. It pushed the Hollow One back and sealed it. The Karax were ordered to guard the prison, generation after generation. They watched. Until they grew proud, arrogant. They forgot the purpose, and then they returned. The memory faded. Silence filled the lab. The alien fell back, exhausted. Dr. Malik broke the silence. They weren't here to conquer us. They were trying to stop something. Sarah looked at the screen. One word kept flashing. Seismic disturbance level RED. Something was moving deep under Earth. Something huge. Suddenly, an alarm screamed. The alien's vitals spiked. Its skin changed color, glowing with symbols. Sarah shouted, "What's happening?" The alien opened its eyes, full of terror now. It's awake. It knows I'm here. You have to run. Before anyone could respond, a burst of light exploded from the alien's chest. The chamber cracked. Sirens wailed. Soldiers aimed their guns, but it was already too late. The alien collapsed. Dead this time, but on its chest, burned into its skin, was a map, a route through Earth's crust leading to a place no one had dared explore in centuries. The Mariana Trench, the deepest point on the planet. Sarah stared at the map. Sende. Drone, now. Dr. Malik's voice was quiet. Not a drone, he said. A team. Far below the surface, something opened an eye without a name. It had no mouth. But it smiled. Asterisk, The ocean didn't roar that night. It whispered, like something was breathing slow, massive, patient. A sleek black submarine, the Arclight, moved silently through the pitch-black waters of the Mariana Trench. Inside, 6 humans. Sat quietly, staring at screens, holding their breath. They were not explorers. They were the last question Earth had left. Commander Sarah Lynn stood at the control panel, her eyes sharp but tired. She had faced war before, but never something this old. Never something that didn't speak in words. Dr. Malik sat beside her, watching the sonar screen. His voice was low. The trench is deeper than we thought. Something down there is bending the numbers, like space itself is folding. Sarah nodded. Whatever the Karax were afraid of, we're about to meet it. The submarine creaked. The deeper they went, the more it sounded like the sea was alive. Not water. Not pressure. Something else watching, waiting, remembering. The team. Past 10,000 meters. No sunlight. No radio contact. Just darkness and the silent hum of machines. Suddenly, the sonar ping changed. A shape appeared. Big. Malik whispered, "That's not a rock." The object was buried, but pulsing with heat. It had symmetry, design. It was made. Then the lights on the sub flickered. A voice crackled through the speakers, not from their systems, but through the ocean itself. "You do not belong here." Everyone froze. The voice wasn't alien. It was human. But broken, distorted. Like it came from a mouth that had forgotten how to speak. Commander Lynn replied, "Who are you?" Silence. Then, another voice. This time, a child's voice, gentle and innocent. "You were warned." And then, something moved. A massive eye opened in the blackness outside the window round. Golden, blinking slowly. Bigger than the sub. No fish. No bones. Just the sense of size, like a god had turned over in its sleep. The crew stared, frozen in place. One whispered, "We woke it up." Suddenly, the trench opened. The ocean floor cracked like dry earth, revealing a tunnel made of black stone, smooth and unnatural. Sarah gritted her teeth. "Take us in." Dr. Malik hesitated. "This isn't science anymore. This is history fighting back." Still, the sub moved forward into the tunnel. Inside, strange lights began to glow. From the walls. Not electric alive, symbols floated in the water, like memories that refused to die. And then the voices returned, hundreds of them, whispering, screaming, begging. "It's not dead. It's still dreaming." "You brought the key." Sarah grabbed the edge of her seat, sweating. "What key? What are they talking about?" Suddenly, the crewman at the rear collapsed. His skin glowed faintly. His eyes turned black. He stood up, but it wasn't him anymore. The Karax only feared one thing. "You're standing above it now." And then, he smiled, a human smile. But too wide, too calm. Sarah pulled her sidearm. "What are you?" He answered calmly, "I am memory, I am warning." "And you, Sarah Lynn, you are the signal it's been waiting for." She fired. The man fell. His body returned to normal, but on the wall behind him, new symbols had appeared in blood. Dr. Malik translated slowly. "The heart is near. If it beats, all things end." The submarine finally reached the chamber at the trench's base, and there it was, a massive stone sphere, glowing faintly as if lit from the inside. Carved all over it were images of war. Stars and a being with no face. Sarah whispered, "That's what they came for. That's what they were guarding." Malik shook his head. "No, they weren't guarding it. They were feeding it, keeping it asleep. It needs fear, fire, war." And Earth had given it everything. As the submarine hovered before the heart, a pulse shook the ocean. The water trembled, and in orbit, thousands of Karax ships suddenly changed course. They weren't fighting anymore. They were running. Before there were cities, before there were names, there was the weapon, and then Like everything humans fear, it was buried and forgotten. Until now. Above the trench, in low Earth orbit, chaos filled the stars. Karek's ships were breaking formation. Their cold, perfect strategy was gone. They were running, not from Earth's weapons, not from humanity, from something older than both. Something waking up. Inside the Arclight, Commander Sarah Lynn watched the glowing heart at the bottom of the trench. She felt something deep in her chest, like her own heartbeat was answering its call. Dr. Mullock's voice shook. This is not a power source. It's a warning signal. It's counting down. Sarah stepped closer to the glass, staring at the giant sphere pulsing like a sleeping giant's breath. What happens when it reaches zero? Mullock didn't answer. He didn't have to. Thousands of miles away in the Himalayas, an ancient door opened. Not with machines. With memory. Sensors in the region had picked up the pulse from the trench vibrations that matched a forgotten code locked inside old stone, a buried temple, a sealed vault. No one had entered it in over 10,000 years, until now. A small team of explorers, historians, soldiers, and one old monk stood in front of a smooth wall deep. Inside the temple, the monk pressed his palm to the stone, whispered an old word passed down through generations. The wall slid open. Inside was the shape of a woman, carved in gold and stone, arms outstretched. But she wasn't a statue. She was a keyhole, and the face carved on her chest looked exactly like Commander Sarah Lynn. Back in the trench, the pressure on the Arclight increased. The sphere had begun to crack. Sarah stared at it, at the lines forming across its surface. Like something inside was pushing to get out. Dr. Mullock's voice was low. We need to go, now. But Sarah couldn't move. She heard something, not a sound, a memory, a flash. She was somewhere else. Not in the sub, not in the trench, but standing in a white desert under 3 suns. A figure stood before her, made of crystal and dust. A voice spoke, ancient and calm. You are the blood of the ones who sealed the Hollow One. You carry the pattern. You are the last defense. She blinked, and she was back in the submarine. Gasping. Dr. Mullock grabbed her arm. You blacked out. What did you see? Sarah looked at him. A weapon, but it's not metal. It's not made. It's me. In the Himalayas, the monk received a signal. A pulse from the trench. The vault responded. A platform rose from the ground, carrying a smooth orb, silver and warm, like a living heartbeat. The monk whispered, It has chosen her. At that same moment, all Karek's communication channels went silent. Then, a single message was broadcast through every frequency in space. Earth has reactivated the pattern bearer. Mission compromised. Initiating Exodus protocol. The aliens weren't just fleeing anymore. They were escaping something they feared more than death. Sarah Lynn stood at the edge of something no human had touched in thousands of years. She wasn't sure what she was becoming, only that it wasn't human anymore. Suddenly, the Arclight received the final data burst from a Karek's rebel ship that had stayed behind. A single image, a being of light and fire, with a single note attached. It woke. Once before. It ended an empire. Now it wakes again. But it needs a voice. Sarah Lynn closed her eyes. And the ocean lit up. Asterisk. There was no sound. No wait. No time. Commander Sarah Lynn opened her eyes. But she wasn't in the submarine anymore. She stood in a vast, empty space. Not black, not white. Just endless. Memory. Above her, stars spun like slow fire. Below her, nothing. But she did not fall. And in front of her, a shape formed. A woman, or maybe the idea of one, made of stone, light, and fire, ancient beyond reason. Its face was her own. Sarah Lynn. The voice echoed, not through ears, but through thought. You carry the pattern. The last spark of the old war. Sarah tried to speak, but no sound came. Her mouth moved, but her body felt distant, like it belonged to someone else now. The being stepped closer. Images flooded her mind, so fast, so bright, she almost screamed. Planets burning. Armies turned to ash. The Hollow One, a creature. With no form, only hunger. It had eaten empires. But something stopped at once. Not machines. Not armies. A voice. A will. A human. One of your kind stood here long ago, the being said. She became the lock. Now you are the key. Sarah finally spoke, not with fear, but defiance. What do you want from me? The being turned. And around them, a battlefield unfolded, not real, but carved in light. Karak ships falling from the sky. Cities crumbling under gravity storms. A new shape rising from Earth's oceans. Tall, black, shifting, with 1,000 mouths and no eyes. It does not want your planet, the being said. It wants your voice, your stories, your memory. That is how it feeds. It consumes what makes a species alive. Back in the real world, the Arclight floated lifeless in the trench. All systems offline. Sarah's body stood still, eyes glowing faint gold. She wasn't breathing. But something around her heart was beating. Dr. Malik watched in silence. She's inside it now. Inside the dream space. Sarah clenched her fists. You said someone sealed it before. Why not do it again? The being turned to her, because the last time the price was too high. She gave herself, her body, her name, her entire memory. She became part of the seal. Sarah looked down. Her own hands were starting to glow. You want me to become it? No, the being said. We want you to choose. Above Earth, the Karak's fleet broke apart. The main ship, massive, silent, turned away from orbit. Inside, chaos. Rebel leaders fought loyalist commanders. Civil war had broken out in space. And one of the rebel ships sent a final message to Earth. We tried to hold it back. But now it's listening. In the dream space, Sarah saw a memory not her own. A small girl hiding in a burned village. Her mother gone. Her hands covered in ash. The creature had taken that world. You are not chosen because you are strong, the voice said. You are chosen because you remember pain and still stand. Sarah stepped forward. The battlefield faded. The being placed something in her hand, a flame cold and heavy. This is the last weapon. It cannot kill, but it can make the enemy remember what it once was. Sarah nodded. Then I'll carry it. Her body began to glow from the chest outward. Her heartbeat sensed with the trench. Above. The ocean, clouds twisted into spirals. The sky cracked with light. On the ocean floor, the heart split open, and something stepped out. It had no name. No mouth, no shape, just endless eyes. And a voice that sounded like everyone Sarah had ever loved, begging her to stop. She stared up at it. Unafraid. You've eaten silence for centuries, she said. Now hear our story. And she walked into the light. Earth held its breath. The stars blinked. And the ocean stopped moving. At the edge of the Mariana Trench, the sky above the water began to bend. Clouds folded like paper. Light turned inward. Birds froze in midair, then fell silent, lifeless, from the deepest part of the sea. It rose, not fast, not loud. But with the heavy silence of something ancient. And angry. The Hollow One had no true form. It looked different to every eye that saw it. A god. A storm. A scream made solid. To some, it was fire. To others, it was sorrow. To Sarah Lynn, it was a mirror. She stood on the deck of the Arclight, surrounded by lightning that didn't strike, wind that didn't move. Her body was glowing now, skin like starlight, voice like thunder behind glass, but her thoughts were still her own. The voice of the ancient weapon whispered inside her. This is not a battle of strength. It's a war of memory. If you forget who you are, it wins. Sarah nodded. She remembered. Childhood. Her first command. The people she couldn't save. The world she refused to let die. The Hollow One opened its mouth. It spoke without sound. And yet every screen on Earth went dark. Every human felt a whisper inside their spine. Why do you fight? There is peace in forgetting. But Sarah didn't flinch. We are not afraid of remembering. That's what makes us human. She stepped forward. In orbit, the Karax watched in silence. Their war had ended the moment Sarah walked into the light. The rebels refused to run. For the first time in centuries, they chose to witness, not conquer. Dr. Malik, watching from a rescue ship above the trench, whispered into the microphone. She's doing it. She's holding it back. But even he could see, the Hollow One was growing stronger. Every scream it absorbed, every fear, every scar from Earth's history, made it bigger. Sarah's glow dimmed. She dropped to one knee. The weapon's voice inside her pulsed hard. You are slipping. Let me take over. Sarah shook her head. No, this has to come from me. She reached into her chest, not physically, but through memory, and pulled out the final spark the ancient being gave her. A story, not a weapon. Life. Images exploded across the sky, visible to every human, every Karax, every mind still watching. A father holding his newborn, a teacher protecting her students, firefighter running into fire, a child offering a hand to an alien in fear. Humanity at its worst. At its best. Not perfect, but worth remembering. The Hollow One screamed, not in pain, but in confusion. It had never seen a species weaponize love. It cracked. And for the first time, it bled. Sarah stood tall now, no longer glowing, but burning. With purpose. This is our planet, our memory, our mess, our future. You are not welcome. She reached forward and touched it. The explosion didn't shake the Earth. It shook the stars. Time folded. Light shattered. For 1 second, every human on Earth dreamed the same dream. A woman, standing in darkness. Holding a candle. Saying one word, remember. When the light cleared, she was gone. So was the Hollow One, the Karax. Fleet powered down. Their leader gave the final order. Leave Earth. Let it be sacred. Tell others, it has guardians. Dr. Malik stood at the edge of the trench, tears in his eyes. They found no body, only a single heartbeat, still echoing. Deep below, weeks later, a flower bloomed in the crater where the heart had been. A flower no one had ever seen before, but every time someone touched it, they remembered someone they loved. Humanity rebuilt, but they never forgot. And somewhere, far beneath their feet, the light still burns. Waiting. Just in case it's ever needed again.